Thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome back to the channel. This is another review for you, episode 3. We're going to try to wrap the whole thing up this week, y'all. So that means you might get another You review tomorrow for episode 4, and then another one on Thursday for episode 5, and we'll just go ahead and wrap it up. We ain't gonna take a whole month to do it, you know. Anyway, Joe is scrambling, you know, he's snatching everything down off the wall, and he gets a text. Am I right? Are all these articles about you? Come on, Joe, tell the truth. Joe throws the phone, you know, he got to get it out of there. I thought he smashed it, but he ain't smashed it because he get another text. He goes to change his locks, and he get another text. Are you ignoring me? You're hurting my feelings, Joe. Are you there? In class the next day, he gets another text. Well, no, he don't get the text. Somebody in the class, they start getting all these alerts about Malcolm's death. And they're calling the killer the Eat the Rich killer. And police have connected both Simon and his death. And so they know Malcolm's finger was sent to the police with a note that said, this is not a kidnapping, it's a murder. And so they know a lot. They know a whole lot more than Joe expected them to find out, I guess, so soon. Of course, he dismisses. No, he gets another text. He gets another text after that, and they're like, now do I have your attention? So anyway, after class, because he dismisses class because, you know, everybody got to grieve, he texts the killer, what do you want? And they respond immediately, admit you're Joe Goldberg. He says, I'm not, but if I was, what would you want from me? And then they say, for starters, why'd you kill all those people? And then he says, should mention, still have Simon's ear. Shall I send it with a note signed Jonathan Moore? Joe texts back, if I had done it, which I did it, but if I had did it, it's because I had no other options. And I'm like, Joe, now that's a lie. Because let's run back through your options in the past. You have had plenty of options. And you are choosing to take people out for complete strangers. You stalking back. You done left some lady in the dirt thinking that you buried her and she was yet alive. Like, you have a lot in your past. And we're not going to pretend like you are some innocent victim, like you just had to kill people. Anyway, they respond. So, oh, it was, you know, it was life or death. So the students, they're, you know, chatting about on campus. They're talking about Malcolm's death and the details of everything. And Nadia, she walked by overhearing and she cussed everybody out because that's her man, my man, my man, my man. They don't know that. But Joe, you know, he can sense that. Joe over there talking about, she needs someone. If you don't bad, she needs someone. Not you. It's a plethora of folks she can talk to. There are bereavement counselors on the campus for any student, faculty, staff member that need to talk to somebody. We don't need to talk to you, Joe. Joe always trying to save somebody. Always think somebody needs saving. Let that alone. Because in a minute, it's going to be inappropriate because that's your student. So get out her business. Joe be getting on my nerves with that. She needs someone to talk to. If you don't. That's why you in this mess now, always stalking somebody in them folk business. She don't need you, Joe. You ain't the one. She don't need you. Anyway, Joe at the house. Watching the neighbors again. Kate is over there talking to the police. And when they leave, you know, she looked right up and Joe's standing there. He like, oh shit. No, you caught dead, standing right there in the window. And so she calls him and, you know, what do the Americans say? Mind your own fucking business. Yeah, that's what you need to do. And he tries to, you know, go in on a, I'm calling, you know, my condolences for your loss. And she like, save your breath for the police when they get to the door. And hang up in his face. And soon, like not even minutes after she hang up, it's the police. She sent them right over there to his house. Anyway, of course, they ask, when was the last time you saw Malcolm? He tells him, we met at the club. I saw him there. He was the one that brought me home. The police, they can deduce that Joe was the last person to see Malcolm alive. And Joe was like, well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. And so Joe got to think quickly. And he starts to tell them that Malcolm divulged some information to him, while he was, under the influence. He might not have even remembered it. So he tell them that Malcolm found out that Simon was using, the younger folks for the art and all of that, swindling them people. He's a fraud, basically. And Malcolm got gambling debts. And so he said that he was going to get Simon to take care of it. And Joe said, I thought that, I took that to mean blackmail. He just going to throw that out there. Joe, you look so guilty. You have just provided, the person that wants to just provide all the details, all the information, and you're the furthest separated from the whole group. Like, you look guilty. You look guilty. Giving up all that information, like, okay, like they were supposed to be like, oh, thank you for all of that. Now we looking at you now because you know a lot. You know a lot of details. Anyway, they asked him if he knows anybody or if somebody can corroborate that story. And he gives them Blue's name and says that she's in rehab. So, they're going to go look into it. When they leave, he get a text from the killer. That bitch sent the police right away straight to you. Joe start getting paranoid, looking out the windows and all of that. And then he get another text. Kate's a threat, life or death, one might say. You should take care of her. Joe already knew. He should have known that was coming. Anyway. Joe, he's in the house, he done tore his place apart looking for bugs, looking for all that kind of stuff. Because how does this person keep knowing every move he makes, every step he takes, all of that? And he tells, because in his mind, he has no plans on killing Kate. And he texts the killer, Kate won't be a problem. And he tells him, he intends on staying on top of Kate. Because maybe, he gonna run into the killer in the midst of that. Because the killer has to be following her as well. And when he follows her, he runs into Nadia. She looking for a spare key under the mat. And basically she caught. So they were smashing. It was something going on between the two of them. She done wrote him, I guess, a racy love letter. And she wanted to get it out of his office because she don't need the police finding it and then it being a big old situation. So she was trying to get in there and get that letter. Of course, Joe said he gonna go in there and get it for her. He friends with Kate. That lady don't even like you. Anyway, at Simon's funeral, people are out there protesting in support of Eat the Rich. Joe, he's there to, watch everybody. He's watching the elite, all of them file into the fume, some people crying, some people pretending to cry, all of that. He runs into Kate. She want to know why he there. Phoebe invited me. She don't see it for him. Anyway, Reese gives the eulogy. It's nice or whatever. Afterwards, everybody drinking and being merry like nothing happened. He gets stopped and questioned by the head of security. He want to know, what's your deal? What's your angle, American? But Joe, of course, direct all your questions to Phoebe. Phoebe sent me. Phoebe said I could come. She invited me. Joe, he gets a text from the killer. Why haven't you killed Kate yet? He looks for her, like, where is she? Wait a minute, Kate, I'm supposed to be watching her. And he don't see her, and he goes outside, and she's standing outside. And, of course, she gives him attitude, because why you following me? All that. She's just so rude to him. She walk off, and Joe like, damn, now I gotta follow her. You really don't, Joe. You really don't. You really don't. Anyway, he follows her, and she at a bar. And he goes inside and sits right next to her. he alludes to her, alludes that there's a serial killer out there targeting the people around her and all of that, blah, 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 blah. She don't need to be alone. And she scoffs at him like, who are you? Are you Captain America? Like the American jokes are on my nerves. I will say that. Anyway, she feels like she don't need to be watched. She don't need to be followed. She's not in harm's way or nothing like that. She just flat out asks, like, are you following me so you can smash? Like, you trying to... And Joe, of course, is like, no, I just want to help. And she tells him this story about her mother, basically forbidding her to show any form of emotion, so she couldn't cry. And so now that she's supposed to be the grieving girlfriend, she really can't do it. She really can't do it. They share a little moment, I guess. And she feel like Joe is under the impression, I guess, that she was some sucker. Like, because she was like, you didn't think I knew about all them other women? Like, of course I knew. What kind of situation you thought we had? Like, I knew that. I okayed it. Anyway, she gets up and she's like, let me show you where we used to go. And so they go. And she kind of gets lost in the crowd. Joe's still frantic, panicking because he can't find her. And when he does catch up to her, she's sneaking in this gate, going to this little secret garden where she and Malcolm used to go drink and have sex in the public. And so that's what she there for. That's what she trying to do, She knows that Joe is a romantic. Joe is kind of, it's awkward because he ain't really here for all of that. He is one of them make love kind of men. And so she said, okay, well, let me be romantic then. And they just get it in right there in the grass with head of security watching because he been following. Anyway, when he wakes up, she's still asleep. She's still alive, so he happy about that. He starts snooping around looking for that letter for Nadia. He finds it, but he's caught. She catches him right in the act. And of course, she knew about them letters too, but she ain't worried about them letters. She tell him to get out. Just go on and get out, because that's obviously what you was doing, trying to spend the night, trying to get back here so you can get that letter. Get out. Get out. And, he tries to tell her, I can't. It's not safe. And she's like, listen, she would rather be unalived than to sit there another minute with him alone. So get out. When he get outside, he get a text from the killer. Been watching you. Protect her. Protection. Protect was in quotation marks. I've figured you out. I think you killed to protect the things you love. Kate's not love. Yet. She ain't love yet. Anyway. As he says, but she did help me see your pattern. You like it. How it feels. The life going out of their eyes. The power. He say, I bet it got your peen hard. I bet it got your peen hard right now. Joe is, of course, calling him the one insane. It's like, Joe, pot me kettle. Hey, pot, that's kettle. Because, come on, Joe. Anyway, the killer responds, I'll show you. Kate, she leaving again. She getting in a car. Joe got to flag down a car so he can follow her around the city. She ends up at the cemetery wherever they're laying Malcolm's finger to rest. She goes in there and says a few words to her man and heads on out. Before Joe can go anywhere, he gets ambushed by the head of security at gunpoint. He feel like Joe's the killer. He's searching his pockets and finds Malcolm's ring. And Joe's like, wait a minute, how did I get there? Somebody's trying to frame me. The man don't want to hear it. They get in, it's a tussle now. It's a tussle. And Joe got to choke him out. He got to strangle him right there with his own tie. He takes his body, buries it right on top of Simon's casket. So Joe has committed his first murder of the season. This time, however, he did what he had to do. Like all them other times before, I went with Joe. But with this instance, I was like, Joe, you going to have to do something, because he getting on the line to call and tell on you. Nah. Bye, sir. Because you wrong. You barking up the wrong tree. Following Joe around. You need to be following these elite folk around. Following Joe. Anyway, Joe gets home, and here comes serial killer texting again. I was right. You liked it. Joe screams, no, you sick fuck. And then Joe starts to text, you know, the only thing you've accomplished, blah, 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 blah. He texts out this whole text, and before he sends it, he thinks, wait a minute, wait. You want me to be just like you. You think we alike. You're lonely. You're unseen. You feel unseen. Okay, I see you. So he texts back, you're right. It was exhilarating, you know. And the killer kind of ghosts him for a few days. Like, he doesn't respond. Joe is just waiting on a response. The killer is quiet, though. Kate over there in her apartment, she's safe. He's watching her from the windows, of course. And he watches. So she takes the portrait of Malcolm and she burns it, you know, for Joe to see. And they stand there staring at each other, you know, over the moment. And then Joe gets a text thinking it's finally the killer texting him back. And it's a text from Phoebe, giving him a meetup spot. Let's meet. I need to see you, blah, blah, blah. And so when he looks back up, she gone. She gone. With the picture still burning in the trash can. Joe, he gives Nadia her letter back and a book to help her get through, you know, her emotions she going through. She says she ain't love the man, but I guess she cared for him a lot. Joe says his nice words and sends her on her way. Then he gets a text from the killer. I think it's time we meet. So it worked. It worked. He texts back, one condition, leave Kate alone, she's mine. And then the killer responds with, that's the Joe I've been looking for. Joe says when and where. And they respond, say, details soon. Joe, he gets to the meetup spot where Phoebe, you know, asked him to come. And lo and behold, it's a whole setup. It's all the elites is there. Kate's there. Simon's sister there. Reese is there, and so are the police. They there waiting on Joe. Oh, hey, Joe. Nice of you to show up. Can we talk to you? Until next time, guys, we'll be back with episode 4. That was a good episode, though. I will say that. I've seen a few commenters, you know, on other platforms when this show is being discussed, and people are saying it's moving kind of slow. It's not really that good this time. And I'm like, I am enjoying it. Maybe because I love a good murder mystery. Maybe that's what it is. I enjoy that aspect of it. Anyway, we'll be back. We'll be back for episode 4 and 5 this week. So look for episode 4 tomorrow and episode 5 on Thursday. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's Call Me Busby, and I'll chat with you later. Peace and light.